Hi, my name is Sydney, and I am here to talk us through it for Saturday, March 22nd, 2025. It is Saturn's Day. And this is Lamont. He is my co-chair for for this episode. So today we do have the moon ingress into Capricorn. And so where the moon in Sag was just probably, feeling a little bit up, elevated, free. Now the moon is getting down to brass tacks. It's a little bit more somber, a little bit more serious in Capricorn, though the moon in Capricorn is now ruled by that Saturn in watery Pisces. The void, of course, has ended, which is great. So now we can kind of really get down to brass tacks around the things that we're trying to accomplish. I think that there's some new kind of ideas on how we want to do that, potentially coming to us in our dreams, because at 12:46 a.m., we do have the moon biquintile that Uranus in Taurus. We do like that. We love a little biquintile. 4:29:09 a.m., we have the moon in Capricorn square the sun in Aries. Now, this is that kind of working aspect that is really trying to push us forward, right? And it is a cardinal square, so it is definitely like pushing to do something, right? It's taking some sort of action. It gets itself out there. It puts itself out there. And the moon in Capricorn is really about the tasks and the business, right? It is about creating stability and structures. And that sun in Aries is very pioneering. And so, perhaps there's something here about the ways that we want to create the sort of structures for ourselves to make us feel like we have a sense of security in the ways that we want to move forward. But this is a third quarter square. We have to remember that we're still inside of eclipse season. And so this push to wrap something up, and maybe something that came up during that eclipse, right? That full moon eclipse in Virgo. And before we get to that new moon eclipse in Aries, we are trying to wrap something up and we're feeling a bit like, oh, we got to get it done. Okay. Crisis of consciousness. 6:10 a.m., we do have that moon in Capricorn square the retrograde Venus in Aries. This is very much boss babe vibes. We're taking the sort of action that we need in the sorts of relationships that we are perhaps ending or fostering. I really feel like this sort of square is maybe putting a bit of a limit, or we feel like, okay, actually we need to get kind of real about the ways that we have been reevaluating our lives. I need to reevaluate the habits that I have held, and perhaps like being boundaried, right? The moon in Capricorn can be so contained. And really, I'll do it myself. I'll get it done all on my own. And, Venus in Aries is very much, retrograde Venus in Aries is kind of on that vibe too. And so there is that. However, I think the Venus in Aries is far more volatile than that moon in Capricorn. So there is some sort of push around these things that will, I don't know, there's a somberness, there's a singleness. This is definitely maybe another aspect of like breaking up, ending things, right? When, or an awareness, an internal awareness around the things that you need to end, I think is maybe a little bit more the vibe. 12:12 p.m., we have the moon in Capricorn square that Mercury in Aries. Now, I think that this retrograde Mercury in Aries, I think that this could potentially be the sort of, argument or discussion that causes a friction, right? This isn't comfortable to talk about the things that we need, right? And it doesn't feel good to talk about the ooey squishy internal things when the moon in Capricorn, which is ruled by that watery Saturn in Pisces, is squaring up to that retrograde Mercury in Aries, which is ruled by that outer bounds moon in Cancer. So there's like this kind of watery depth within, very emotional, very feeling. And then outside of that is kind of the harder shell of this, the Capricorn and the Aries cardinal. Like, I got to take action about this stuff that's happening on the inside, and it doesn't really feel comfortable, but I got to do it. Boss babe vibes. 6:07 p.m., we do have the sun conjuncting that retrograde Venus at about 2.5 degrees Aries. I think this is conscious awareness of the things that we have been reevaluating around all the Venusian things. Maybe we are now like, oh, now I'm going to reassess this haircut that I just gave myself. Or highlighting the things that we need to do around our finances. Or in this journey of Venus into Aries, now we are actually fully aware of what the issue is, and we want to take some sort of action that serves this sort of like singular, independent desire and ego kind of need, creative purpose. Like, this is the way I go forward, because now that we have, it'll be Kazemi, which we like for a bit. That can be kind of like a Goku powering up, a burning away of all the things that Venus no longer needs, and only keeping the things that she needs to continue on her journey, right? She drops off all the dead weight and just goes, okay, I'm burned anew. And now I can continue to go backwards in my journey, because I have a little bit more journey to go, but I didn't need to take all of that with me. Right? And the sun highlights those things. Didn't need that. Now I have this, right? Or we can look at it as the sun has swallowed up Venus. She is completely enveloped and hidden under the rays of the sun. And now Venus is working in service of this egoic principle, the sun, right? Because it's been usurped, taken up by it. So I think that there's definitely something about, paying attention to what comes up at this time, what is highlighted in your life. And then we have a biquintile to the moon from Saturn, or moon in Capricorn biquintile, Saturn in Pisces. Pardon my flipping things around. And that's not until the evening. And I think that it just kind of brings a bit of... there's like a settledness, I think. It feels kind of like a settled energy around what we are feeling and the things that we need to go forward, and the sorts of ways that we want to create our reality. And that's the last aspect for Saturday. And then the void of course will begin. This is a non-traditional void of course, but still. And then the moon goes to fly off or float off and kind of do its thing. It's like, okay, I know what I need to go forward, and this feels okay for me. And now we need to rest. So that's it for the day. I hope that this day treats you well, though the squares could be a little bit uncomfortable. I think it's still very much trying to push us forward into new horizons, being that we have just entered Aries season. So take care of yourselves. Talk to you tomorrow. Bye. Hey, thank you for listening to today's Astro Weather with me. I'm Sydney. As a reminder, I'm always open to seeing both new and my beloved returning clients. My website is ddastrology.com. That is D as in dog, astrology.com, to check me out, and just click the email buttons in order to schedule with me. If you're into a more conversational feel with your podcast and content, I have a podcast called BS Astrology with my fellow Mercurial Mommy Bender, and we put out episodes every Sunday for the week. Just search BS Astrology on YouTube or wherever you enjoy listening to your podcasts, including Spotify, Audible, and more. Have a good day.